This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I said, this is like me and Tori's Super Bowl.
I know. This is it, everyone. I know some of you are tired of it, but this is a major day. It is Election Day. Woo! Millions of Americans are casting their ballots at polling stations all across the country. More than 42 million ballots have already been cast by early voting or by mail. That's more than the last midterm election in 2018. Sorry about the mic there. So what's at stake? One thing is for sure, we're going to find out which party will control Congress, Republicans or Democrats. But DBL Nation, this is where we want to hear from you. This is why the panel is more nuanced than the other shows. What issue, I'm sorry, but seriously, what issue matters to you most as you cast that ballot? Is it the economy? Is it crime? Is it abortion? Or is it democracy itself? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in another vote. And again, I say this because people have died getting your right to vote. So when I say this is the most wonderful time, I'm sort of joking, but this is a citizen's duty and an honor and a privilege that many people don't get in other parts of the world. So I just wanted to say that's why I really want you to take this seriously. What issue for you, Lindsay, is the most important? What's getting you to the ballot?
Well, I think this is the first time that people are voting since January 6th insurrection. This is the first time people are voting since the abortion ruling with the Supreme Court. So I think we're going to see if those are really the biggest issues. For me, I'm looking at, like I said, the step ahead of me, the economy, what's going on. Like, even buying formula, it's still a shortage. Like, I don't understand what the communication was for the last year and a half with Biden's administration and whoever was controlling it. I don't have formula for my kid, right? So, like, you know, there's just a lot of issues that I'm thinking about day to day. But I know that the overwhelming conversation has been about abortion and some of the things that happened on January 6th and about the state of our democracy. So I guess we'll see if people are thinking about their wallets or thinking about those more. And I think they're both equally important.
What do you think?
You know, I would say democracy as a whole is the most important. It's the most important to exercise our civic duty. That being said, I think a lot of people are looking at their ballots and thinking, okay, aside from the candidates who are obviously very important, but we also have a lot of different things that we're voting on individually in our ballots. And what I was surprised about when I first received mine was that some of the topics that we talk about most weren't necessarily appearing on my ballot from my
your
district.
Personal issues.
Right. So then you start thinking about how do I vote in terms of some people are voting very much in terms of their household, but there is a segment of the population who has to vote against their own personal interest. And what I mean by that is when I look at, like, okay, if I am in this particular segment, this doesn't affect me, but I do understand that this could positively affect another particular segment. Now I'm making that decision based on being a global citizen. And I think that's a part of the equation that we never talk about, that a lot of the issues that people are voting on or the candidates that they're voting for requires them to see outside of themselves.
That's so funny. I saw a tweet, a meme that I actually kept. I want to show you this, and it says, it's great. It said, overheard, a vote is not a Valentine. You aren't confessing your love for the candidate. It's a chess move for the world you want to live in, which is kind of what you said. You've got to be thinking 2 steps ahead for some people. Which
I also think it's interesting that Gen Z, this is the first time a lot of them can vote in a national election. And so it's going to be interesting to see where young adults, where their feelings and thoughts lie. Because I've been watching a lot of interviews, and a lot of them are just like, you know, very adamant about the abortion issue. And so we'll see kind of in those states where there's some states where it's actually on the ballot.
Correct.
Some states where it's not. And so we'll see in those states like Kansas and, you know, in Georgia and, you know, some of the really swing states, we'll see if these young voters do come out and decide how they feel, and then we'll get a loud message. Yeah,
we're seeing lines out the gazoo if you've been watching of kids lining up. Again, Biden's put in marijuana pardons, and he's also done financial ending or canceling debt. Those are 2 major things young people are going to want to vote on. And if they don't, that's saying to people, we don't care about those young policies, which I think is interesting. Personally, for me, it's a Rovember. It has to be a Rovember. Roe v. Wade was overturned. You've got to address what's bleeding in triage first. To me, that women don't have their own autonomy is what's bleeding the most. Let's take a look at what you guys say. The most issue that matters most, democracy, is overwhelmingly 65% of you say democracy. Otherwise, it's chaos. I hear that. All right, how many of you waited up to find out the winning Powerball numbers, only to find out the drawing was delayed? I did.
My mom actually put me in it against my will. I'm like, I'm good. Don't worry about it. She's like, well, I put your name down in the family thing. I'm like, okay.
All right, fine.
So if I win, I'll be very grateful. Bowing to my sensei.
You should say thank you, Susan. Turns out one of the states that was late completing the required security protocols, but now there's some good news. The winning numbers have been drawn for the more than $2 billion jackpot. I almost couldn't say it. It is now the largest ever in history. But get this. There were no winners of the jackpot. So now Wednesday's drawing is made up of an estimated $2.3 billion. How is no one winning?
You know what? I think it's official. I might be a lottery denier.
You don't believe in it?
I might be a lottery denier. How is it possible
Thank you.
that there was just a glitch on the biggest jackpot in history? And no one won. And has anyone ever met anyone who's ever won the lottery?
Has anyone clap if you met a lottery winner?
No, they all hide themselves.
Yeah.
That was like one and a half.
Wait, you literally met
How much was the lottery?
40 million.
40
No way.
million?
No.
You know that person? How much?
3 million.
3 million? I don't know.
I agree with
I
that.
don't know.
Crazy.
I may just be a lottery denier.
I know what you mean.
Like, I mean, there's some questions. We need some transparency.
We need answers.
Nobody else can play the lottery until we get all the answers.
Yeah.
Have you met anyone who's won?
My dad won $500 on a scratch off.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I got.
Okay, that's something. I won 120 once, but agreed. You'd think at this moment everyone's buying it. Someone in Iowa, Ohio, someone.
Why does it always have to be a random place? Why can't?
it's
I mean, not that
usually-
they're random, but you know,
Right.
why can't it be like somebody in New York, like my mom?
Because it never is. You just want to win. I love that. All right, let us know also what you guys are voting for today, your voting story, your voting plan. If you have voting problems, write us in because we want to help that out. Coming up on DBL, actor Justin Hartley is telling us all about his new Christmas movie. Will it make us cry like This Is Us? Plus, this was fascinating. Is Nancy Pelosi going to retire soon? We're going to talk all about the attack on her husband and how it could impact her decision. Coming up next. Stay tuned for that.
There's going to be a lot of internet chatter. That's where the red flag goes up.
We are never going to agree on this.
It's ignorant, and for me, it was just like a damn shame.
Tell me I need to do something, I'm going to do the exact opposite.
You know why I don't call in sick? Camera hog.
You have to call for the second thought.
This is big, guys. Did you guys see it? Nancy Pelosi interviewed by Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes.
No,
CNN. And you rarely see Nancy Pelosi.
Wait, we're not.
You're right. But it's a great interview, and we're gonna kind of go through it.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, we're gonna dissect it.
Lottery. I'm just asking. There are some theories out there because how is it possible? Just somebody talk to me here. Let me see what y'all are saying.
Thank you.
Because I need to know. I need to know. This makes me very skeptical of our lottery system. Is all I'm saying. Let's see.
Where is it?
So,
Is there a side here?
yeah, there's a side here.
Okay. Well, Jamie thought that my sweater had many flamingos down the middle. It does not.
It does not.
Look at my sweater. Go vote today.
All into the electoral spirit. Yeah, I want to know. Who else knows someone who's won the lottery? Now, I will say that my granddaddy used to play my birthday every year around my birthday, and he would win something every year around my birthday. So I used to do that as well. Maybe I should do that this year. Maybe I'll retire my lottery naysayerness.
I'm so sorry.
But it's a good question. It's a big
I'm
question.
so sorry. You might want to
It's a
walk
lot
on.
of
I'm
money.
very sorry.
And does that mean that there really was a winner? Because now I'm thinking that maybe there was a winner.
Are you
and
still
they
doing
just
lottery denial?
to grow the jackpot?
I also think a glitch in the matrix at this point is a little odd to be like, oops, something went wrong at the biggest jackpot ever. I also aren't you always one number away every time?
No, if you're one number away, you still.
get those votes out. I'll be talking about it all day. I'm your parrot. Welcome back. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi sat down with Anderson Cooper for a very interesting talk about the violent attack on her husband, Paul, at their home in San Francisco a couple of weeks ago. She said it was one of the hardest parts was the fact that she was the target of the attack, not her husband, and now he's paying the price. She said she knows she's a target because she's very effective at her job. She then also got choked up, recalling how she found out about the attack. Let's take a look at that moment.
Well, I was sleeping in Washington, D.C. I had just gotten in the night before from San Francisco, and the bang, 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 bang on the door. So I run to the door, and I'm very scared. I see this Capitol Police, and they said, we have to come in to talk to you. And I'm thinking, my children, my grandchildren. I never thought it would be Paul, because, you know, I knew he wouldn't be out and about, shall we say. And so,
So what did you think of this interview and seeing this sort of more emotional side, I will say, of Nancy Pelosi? We don't normally see Nancy Pelosi sort of emote like that. And if you did see some of the documentaries, she and Mike Pence, I don't care what you think, held down democracy that day behind closed doors. So I was fascinated to see her sort of break character a little bit. What was your thoughts?
I thought that she humanized herself. I know she's a very tough politician who, you know, is always very adamant about the policies and people she likes or dislikes. But she, talking about her husband, how could you feel any other way besides emotional? What struck me about this interview is when she talked about her relationship with her kids and her husband and how everybody's going to be looking at this and now be traumatized as a family. And so she hasn't had a full conversation with him about how he feels and what the night's events were, because she doesn't want to re-traumatize him. So they haven't even gotten there, like, hey, what happened that night? How are you feeling? And that really struck me because I can't imagine.
I can't either. Eric,
well, now's not the time for any of this. Like, she didn't break down in terms of, like, it's a breakdown. She is living and experiencing and breathing trauma right now. And there's just no way. There's no way to even, like, she held herself together, but there's also a numbness that happens when you're amidst trauma, and there's no way to really unpack that.
That's very true.
Also, the guilt of just, I mean, this is had to have been something that had gone through her mind at some point, or any public official, any public figure. Like, what I do impacts the rest of my family.
Right.
Like, when you start having police at your house and there's this presence of, you know, locking down and safety, and you know it's because of you, but it's impacting everyone else in your household or in your family or friend circle, that's a lot to carry, and she has been carrying that for a long time, as have many, many other people. Yeah, but to see it culminate in this way, like, I know that she has a job to do, and this is such a critical time, and by standing down, it's giving this person and these people exactly what they want. But at the same time, it's like, I need, like, I hope that she gets some time. I hope that they get some time to heal as a family, and I hope that that's in a way that she feels okay about.
Let me ask you this, because you were bringing up my next point quite well. They asked not about if she's going to retire, but has she made a decision to retire, yes or no? I want you to watch this and then tell me what you see. Go ahead and play that.
I mean, have you made a decision in your mind, whatever that decision might be?
well, I have to say my decision will be affected about what happened the last week or two.
Will your decision be impacted by the attack in any way?
Yes.
So just so you guys know, that was the quickest answer she gave. It's clearly traumatizing, but I took it, that quick yes, to mean she's coming back. I took that because she wouldn't have done the interview had she wanted to retire. To me, that was, I don't care, political violence can come and I will still stand my ground for the Constitution of the United States. That's what I took from that very sure yes. Did you guys disagree with me? What did you guys see?
I agree. I think she was firm. Like, that's Nancy Pelosi's attitude as somebody who's been following her, you know, for more than a decade now, working in politics in different news stations. She's been somebody who's very firm, and when she's sure, she's sure. You know, so it didn't feel like a a weary kind of, unless she's just still reacting off of the trauma and just saying the first thing that comes, but it felt very sure. But I think now is the moment, while she's traumatized and her family is, for everyone else to stand up and say something that this was wrong and there's no other word or verbiage besides this is wrong, and bring the temperature all the way down, because this never should have happened.
I agree. And Ted Cruz had a beer thrown at him on the parade for the Astros. We want to unambiguously condone that and say that's not right. We are voters, not violent people here. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Justin Hartley from This Is Us. Would he ever do a spin-off of the show called This Is Me?
He should.
I just came up with that.
It's ridiculous.
Today's Sandals word of the day is
Beach. Enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night escape for 2 to beautiful Curacao.
You know the saying, if you don't have a picture, did it really happen? Well, what about posting a photo of your completed ballot? Verify viewer Tom asked us about the legality of posting a photo of a ballot on social media. So let's verify. Is it legal to post a photo of your completed ballot? Our sources are the National Conference of State Legislatures, New Hampshire House Bill 366, New Hampshire court records, and various state election laws. Each state runs their own elections, and according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, all states have some kind of guidance on how to protect a voter's right to privacy when casting a ballot. To safeguard that right, some states have banned or limited the use of cameras in polling places for decades. But the advent of social media and selfies caused states to question if they needed more restrictions around ballot privacy. In 2014, New Hampshire passed a law prohibiting people from posting pictures of their marked ballots on social media, arguing the pictures could lead to voter intimidation, vote buying, or coercion. But the law didn't stick. A federal court decided that posting a picture of your ballot is protected by the First Amendment right to free speech. Now, Hawaii, Nebraska, Oregon, Colorado, and California are among states that allow people to post photos or selfies of their ballots. But some states don't allow taking photos inside of the polling place at all. In Arizona, if you take a photo within 75 feet of a polling location, you can be charged with a misdemeanor, according to Arizona's Secretary of State. And in Texas, people can't take any wireless device within 100 feet of a polling place. But the state election code doesn't prohibit people from taking pictures of their ballots. So we can verify that rules for taking photos of your ballot vary by state. So before you snap a pic at the polls, make sure to check your state's rules regarding election photography. With your Verify, I'm Adiande Till.
How's everybody doing? Thanks for coming.
Could you inscribe it to Sherry, please?
So it's an I or Y?
Either is fine.
Joy Noel.
Okay, welcome back to DBL. He has a special place as Kevin Pearson in the hearts of This Is Us fans everywhere. And now Justin Hartley is back to bring us to tears yet again in his new Christmas movie. Earlier, we spoke with Justin about his new movie, The Noel Diary, and the chance of a This Is Us spin-off. Take a look.
Justin, welcome to DBL.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So, Justin, this isn't your first holiday movie. We all saw you as a stripping Santa in Bad Moms Christmas.
Love that.
I got to ask you, what made you the most nervous about that role?
Those ladies that you're looking at right now, actually, they were lovely. But I read that script and I thought the character was so hilarious. And I had a really funny take on him, and I thought, well, he's not a stripper. He's a guy who just wants to make people happy. That's what he really cares about. And I had this, I thought, really funny take on the character, and it didn't dawn on me until I was standing up on that bar in front of those ladies that the practicality that I would actually have to do that. And so now I'm standing staring at these ladies, and I'm going, well, here we go. And then all the clothes came off. So this is a different kind of movie that I'm doing this year.
Right. Justin, we're going to get to your Christmas movie, but I wanted to point out Sam's wearing a Christmas sweater in honor of your new movie, because she knew you guys would be chatting today.
If you answer correctly, you get a candy cane.
I love it.
Oh, my God.
I fully commit, Justin.
Thank you very much. That's the only way to do it.
Okay.
That's how I got through Bad Moms Christmas.
All right, we do have to talk about This Is Us, okay, for a second, and then we're going to get to your movie. Would you ever do a Kevin spinoff if it was offered to you?
I want to know your thoughts on this, Randall.
I don't know. You know what? It would have to be the right people involved, and it would have to be pretty damn good. I feel like the writers on This Is Us did a very good job of giving us throughout the series, throughout the course of the 6 years, giving us each our own spin-off moments. You know, we had episodes that were just solely Kevin episodes, or Randall episodes, or Kate episodes, or the parents, or Jack, and so I feel like they all kind of did get their own spin-off within the confines of the series. But yeah, I mean, I loved that job. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved the writers. It was an experience of my life. It was wonderful. And yeah, so I would entertain anything Kevin Pearson.
Well, that leads me to my next question, because later in the show, Kevin became a father to twins. Now, what was it like playing a new father on TV, but you're also a father to a teenager, like I am to two, in real life? What's that like for you?
When you tell me.
No, it's every day. You know, we're here with it. It's like every text, they're like, oh, please don't let it be something weird.
No, yeah, it's different. It's when you're on set. I mean, you can have quadruplets, and when they're not doing, you know, what they're supposed to be doing, when they're acting like babies, right? The parents are. It's a totally different world. And then when they're teenagers, I'm lucky. My daughter, as I'm sure you are, my daughter is pretty wonderful. She's in college now, and she's doing great. She's thriving.
Congrats,
and
man.
She's lovely and sweet and kind, and thank you. And so I got really lucky with that. But yeah, it is different. It is stressful because she's my girl, and she's beautiful, and she's young, and she's on her own, and it's tough.
So let's talk about your character in this movie, because your character has quite a journey ahead of him. So we have to ask, is this movie going to make us cry like This Is Us did? Because we need to be prepared.
Like This Is Us did. Well, look, I think in this movie we do certain things that we did on This Is Us, in that we have characters in the film that are very relate to probably every single character in the film. There's certain things that happens to Jake, my character, throughout the course of the movie, and if those things have happened to you, probably, if it hits close to home, it'll probably feel, it's pretty authentic. It's I think we do a really good job of telling that story of, when you suffer a loss and maybe you had some things to say to that person, and you always intended, you're gonna say them. I'll get around to it. Eventually, you have to have this conversation and talk this out, and then you don't get that opportunity. I think that's sort of the heartbreak that leads people to that emotional place. But yeah, unless you have a cold, dead heart in your chest, maybe.
Well, that's
the answer was yes.
That's out.
That's been off.
Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. DBL Nation, The Noel Diary premieres on Netflix November 24th. Thanks again, Justin.
I'm back, man. You were great. Thank you.
Before you head to the polls, let's take a look at some common questions viewers have asked us, so you are prepared when you cast your vote.
Our sources to get these questions answered: Michael Dickerson, Director of Elections in Mecklenburg County, the North Carolina State Board of Elections, and the South Carolina Election Commission.
The first question, do you need an ID to vote? Well, according to the NC Board of Elections, you do not need your ID to vote in North Carolina. This has been an ongoing battle in the state, but the latest court ruling states voters do not need an ID to cast a ballot in the Tar Heel state. However, in South Carolina, you do need an ID in order to vote. That includes a standard driver's license or a voter registration card with a photo, passport, or federal military ID.
The next question, can you vote anywhere in North and South Carolina? During early voting, Dickerson says anyone could vote at any early voting location in the county. However, on Election Day, you have to vote in your precinct. The same rule applies to voting in South Carolina. So no, you cannot pick your polling place on Election Day. We have a full list of where to vote on our website, WCNC.com. And finally, can you wear political attire when you enter the voting booth?
Yes, Dickerson says in North Carolina, you are allowed to wear whatever you want, including T-shirts, buttons, and stickers that endorse candidates. However, you cannot disrupt voting, for example, by yelling a political slogan at the polling place. In South Carolina, no political apparel is allowed in the polling place. There will be poll watchers at polling places to make sure people are behaving themselves. And remember, you are also not allowed to take pictures in the voting area. This is against the law in North and South Carolina. So be sure to save your voting selfies for outside. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
The I voted sticker is a quintessential part of the voting process in many places. It can also be your ticket to some great discounts and freebies at local businesses. But a Verify viewer sent us an example of one deal posted on Facebook and wants to know if they're actually legal. So let's verify. Our sources are the Federal Elections Commission, the California Secretary of State, the U.S. Code of Laws, and Richard Hassan with UCLA School of Law. A lot of these incentives seem innocent enough, like free donuts, pizza, or coffee to people with the sticker. But the Federal Elections Commission says it is a violation under the U.S. Code of Laws if a federal candidate is on the ballot. This is because federal law prohibits knowingly and willfully paying or offering to pay or accepting payment for voting. Violators can face a fine of up to $10,000 or 5 years in prison. So, no, it is not legal to offer discounts or freebies to voters in federal elections. But your favorite donut shop is probably not breaking the law. That's because as long as they offer the freebie to everyone, not just voters, they're in the clear. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. Who doesn't love a good shower? Huh? Okay, but did you know that taking a bath could be better for your health? We're talking about it in today's tip, sponsored by Jacuzzi. According to experts, baths can delay aging by helping lower your cortisol levels in the body. Next, baths do a better job at relieving sore muscles than a shower by keeping you submerged. And finally, taking a bath can also lower blood sugar levels. If you want to start taking more baths, Jacuzzi can help. You do it the right way with a spa-like experience. Jacuzzi offers an unmatched, stress-free remodeling process, so just visit jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 1-800-523-1523. Now,
this is all very true.
It is very true. But before we go, the wait is over, people. People's Magazine's newest sexiest man alive has been named. It's none other than Captain America, Chris Evans.
Good choice.
Okay. Who said his mom is going to be really happy about the honor.
Aww.
Isn't he cute? We love you, Chris, and we hope you get married and have many children.
I can't.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.